Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.
Shalom, shalom, Yasharal. Yahuwah grafted in Gentiles into the body of Hamashiach. We're listening to Hezekiah, song Sorrow.
You need to repent, go watch the news. All of the prophecy coming true.
Yahuwah has called me to cry loud and spare not, to lift up a voice like a trump in Zion, to let his people know that they need to repent, that they need to receive his witness, they need to be established in the Ruach HaKodesh. That's my job. That's what I'm called to do. It's not a job that brings fanfare. No, it's not that kind of job. It's not that kind of job that everybody wants to pat you on the back. It's not that kind of job. It's a word that comes with authority and power. This word is the word that he has given to me to declare to you that it must go out. Hebrew. Hebrew. Believe the word of Yahuwah that is coming forth from this man of Yahuwah. Receive the witness, receive the witness, receive the witness, receive the witness, receive the witness. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I pray right now that you will take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign, that I would not cause anyone to stumble, anyone to go astray, or no one to be turned out of the way. I pray that the Ruach HaKodesh of truth would minister truth unto those that you have chosen, that have an ear to hear. Yahuwah, may they be reached by the Ruach HaKodesh and drawn into Emunah in receiving the witness. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I pray that you would establish your kingdom in them, that they may be gathered, Yahuwah, that they may be a part of the remnant. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Listen, man of Yah, woman of Yah. Sorrows. Song is entitled by Hezekiah. I don't own the rights to his music. Again, this Aki has songs that has ministered to me, right? That have solidified the idea of the need to be in a place where you are right with Yahuwah. You are established in his witness. You are obeying his Torah. You are keeping his commandments. You are his son and his daughter. Hebrew is more than a blood rite. Right. It's more than a circumcision of the flesh, right? This witness is the only thing that's going to establish you in Yahuwah's kingdom, because this is what it's all about, right? Everything is about Yahuwah establishing his kingdom in the Eretz. That's it, right? That's the end goal, right? And only those who are sons and daughters are going to be established in his kingdom. That is the end goal, the end game. That has always been the end game. To establish a kingdom in the Eretz with a people that he has called to provide the standard of living. Those who will obey his Torah, those that will keep his statutes, those who he can sanctify his great name in, those who are going to be sprinkled with water, those who are going to be cleansed with water and blood, those who are going to receive his Ruach HaKodesh, right, that establishes them in the kingdom of Yahuwah. This is what this is all about. This is about the establishing of a kingdom. It's about us returning to a territory that he has designated as that of his people, establishing a kingdom, a territory for which all the world shall be ruled. You know, the whole world is going to be ruled by the nation of Yasharal and Yahuda. Yeah. The sticks are not going to be two separate sticks anymore. It's not going to be Yasharal and Yahuda. It's going to be forever Yisrael. Listen, Hebrew, I must cry loud. I must spare not. I must lift up my voice, right? Yaakov Yahuda Gaal must lift up his voice, right? Because I'm a kinsman redeemer. I am a Torah guardian. I'm an avenger of wickedness and a demonstrator of righteousness. Right? I, by the word that Yahuwah speaks through me, not me, but the Ruach HaKodesh that he is, the word by the Ruach HaKodesh that he is speaking through me to you. Yeah. That's how he's pleading with you, face to face. Because see, I am his son. Yeah. In the absence of Yahusha in the Eretz. I am one who has been given the delegated authority, the Ruach HaKodesh, the power to be the witnesses in the Eretz. And so when you hear the word of Yahuwah from me, right? Yahuwah speaking to you face to face. I know some of y'all won't have a problem with that, but that's okay. It's okay, because if you wait for Yahuwah to speak to you face to face, you don't understand the order. Yeah. You don't understand the order. My people don't understand my order. I have chosen people who have received the witness. I have put my Ruach HaKodesh in them, and when they speak, you speak to me face to face. It is my order. It is my order, saith Yahuwah. This is what I do. This is how I speak. Yes. By the Ruach HaKodesh, I speak and commune with you. Right. If you received my witness. But when I send forth my word, and I declare it unto you by the mouth of a man of Yahuwah, a woman of Yahuwah, it is as you were speaking to me. Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh, we're sons of Elohiym. We're daughters of Elohiym. And you know what? Only those who have received the Ruach HaKodesh are sons and daughters, and they are the only ones that can possibly know what Yahuwah is saying. They are the only ones that can possibly understand and know what Yahuwah is saying. Because they have his Ruach HaKodesh, Yahuwah and Yahusha on the inside of them, leading them and guiding them into all truth. They are the only ones that are going to have the truth. Hebrews, the 4th chapter. We make our way through. Paul laying a convincing argument to the Yahudim that are scattered, right? In the synagogues and assemblies across the territories that he had come into contact with. Still ever reasoning with his people. Ever reasoning with the Yahudim. Always wanting his brethren to recognize what it is that Yahuwah has done in the midst of them through sending his only begotten son, Yahusha, right? Letting you know that you must be born again. That you must experience a rebirth. A born again experience. Right? You must receive an experience of a rebirth, right? Being born again. This experience, right? This rebirth, right? This being born again, it's not natural. Right? It's not natural. It's not natural. It's spiritual, supernatural. This ruach, right? This new birth requires water baptism, and it requires the baptism of the Ruach HaKodesh. And it requires you receiving the blood that the high priest, at the order of Melchizedek, offered up in the Shamayim on the altars of Yahuwah Elohiym on behalf of you. So that's receiving Yahusha. Yahweh salvation. Yahush. You have to understand that this witness is everything. This witness is the completion, the culmination of everything. This witness is his establishing his dominion in the Eretz. In the Shamayim and the Eretz, Yahusha. He's established his dominion. He's established his dominion in the Eretz. His kingdom has come. Enoch. In the latter part of that 9th verse, it says, of the 93rd chapter, and in the 5th week during its completion, the house of glory and dominion shall be erected forever. House of glory and dominion. Erected forever. Right? The house, the nation, the people. Not a building. Yahusha does not even dwell in temples made with hands. The house, the nation, the people, the dominion. Yahusha HaMashiach's witness. the establishment of the kingdoms, kings and queens, those who have received the witness. This is what it has been about. This is the mystery that has been hid, the restoration of the kingdom. And only those that have received the witness are going to go into the kingdom. Those that are righteous, that are chosen from the everlasting plan of righteousness. Yahusha is that plant. He is the vine. Yahuwah is the husbandman. Every branch that does not bear fruit is cut off. Listen, Hebrew. Paul is trying to reason with you to get you to understand that, listen, your ancestors died in the wilderness not having received rest, not having had Yeshua. Yeah, they were delivered from Mitzrayim, right? Yeah, Yahusha did signs and miracles before them, but they didn't enter into that rest. They didn't enter into the rest. And if the truth be told, the entire nation, right? Those who left under Yahshua, right? They didn't get rest. Let's go in. Let's go. Hebrews 4:1. Let us therefore fear. Right? Well, why are we fearing? Because Yahuwah has already at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets. Hebrews 1:1. Why should we fear? He hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he has appointed heir over all things, by whom he has made all things. Why should we fear? Right? Because Yahusha is his way. Right? Now listen. Listen. Right? Chapter 2, verse 1. Therefore, we ought to give the most earnest heed to this Yeshua that's come as a result of Yahushua Mashiach, who was made a little bit lower than the angels, but crowned with glory and honor. Of whom of Yahushua he has never said, as he has never said to the angels what he has said to Yahushua, right? My beloved Son, sit thou on my right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool. No. He was made a little lower than the angels. In the order of things, there is Yahuwah, Yahusha, the Ruach HaKodesh, and the angels. Yahusha, Yahuwah, and the Ruach HaKodesh are one, and after that order is the angels. Everything after the angels is lower. And Yahusha was lower than the angels. Right? Listen. Who has in these last days spoken to us by his Son, whom he has appointed heir over all things, by whom also he made all things. So the plan is to establish Yahusha as king over his kingdom. That's the plan. That has always been the plan from the foundations of the earth. After Adam and Ava had surrendered their dominion, the plan has always been to establish Yahusha as king and have dominion over Yahuwah's kingdom in the Eretz. That's always been the plan. I mean, you can come up with elaborate ideas, and you can say, oh, well, this was that. Listen, the plan was for Yahuwah to establish his kingdom. Plain and simple. This is all about Yahuwah's plan to establish his kingdom. Simplified. Right? Simplified. For a baby to understand. Right? My nose itch. I don't know why, but it does. So if you see me do that, it's because it itch. Yahuwah has always had a plan. The plan is revealed by the Ruach HaKodesh. The Ruach HaKodesh is, listen, Yahuwah's plan is to establish his kingdom in the Eretz, where he originally established it. But it was surrendered to Hadam and Va. Yahusha knew, right, that he was going to come to establish the kingdom, right? Yahusha knew that he was going to come to establish a people who would rule in Yahuwah's kingdom, in the Eretz. Yahusha was coming to put the kibosh down. Haveth in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir over all things. Yahusha, it's about his kingdom. It's about going back to the land, established, having been born again, and the witness, receiving the Ruach HaKodesh, to be established in his kingdom, to affect the order of business in his kingdom. Everything that we have experienced, everything we have been through as a people, has largely, if not completely, been a result of our own disobedience. Even though Yahuwah, Yahuwah knew that we as a people would not obey him. He had to establish a pattern, a way of doing things, of establishing his kingdom in the Eretz. He had to do it. Yahuwah had to establish his kingdom. He had to let us know what that looked like. Right? That's why he gave Moshe the Torah. Though a Torah was already established, he gave Moshe a Torah to give to the people to establish an order of doing things that would govern his kingdom. Right? And they failed miserably, time and time again. You was like, okay, now I'm going to give him another opportunity to operate the way I need to operate in the kingdom. Right? So they would go out, do what he needed to do. They would serve him, and then 40 years later, a generation would rise up and turn their backs on him. Okay, so they go into captivity, beat up by the Philistines or beat up by somebody else, right? Come just right, and then Yahuwah had when they turned to him, he's because that was his promise. If you turn to me, right, then I will turn to you over and over and over and over again, right? Yahuwah had to have them to see what the kingdom looks like, right? Under Dawid, right? They had to understand what the kingdom looked like, right? Under Dawid, the kingdom represented might and authority, right? There was no mercy in judgment. There was no mercy in judgment. Who says, say it again, there was no mercy in judgment, right? And the people needed to see that there was no mercy in judgment, right? Because you all disobeyed. Right. And Dawid, he understood what it meant to have to use Ruach. And he didn't want to lose the Ruach, right? Then you had Shlomo. Shlomo was the kingdom in splendor and wealth, right? And the way that it should have been established in the way that it probably was established in the Eretz, right? The way it was established, right, in the garden, it would have developed and evolved or grew into that if it was not that already, which we just don't have any idea because all we know that there was a garden. Yahuwah was trying to let us know what it looks like, right? We understand Yahuwah's judgment when you violate. We understand what Yahuwah's splendor looks like, right? And then in Yahushua HaMashiach, he showed us mercy. Listen, in Yahushua HaMashiach, he showed us mercy. The kingdom of Yahuwah is mercy in Yahushua. He did it at sundry times. He spoke about it. He prophesied it. He revealed it. But you couldn't see it because you ain't had the Ruach HaKodesh. You really couldn't discern it because you had the Ruach HaKodesh. And like these Christian church, they've taken it and coming with all these doctrines, these ideologies, and these philosophies, and these understandings. They don't understand it because they don't have the Ruach HaKodesh. It's not their book. And just because we're Hebrews, it's not for us if we don't have the Ruach HaKodesh. You got to receive the witness of Yahushua to go to the next level. You have to receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. You have to receive the Ruach HaKodesh in order to be established in his kingdom. And you have to come to him. He's a faithful and merciful high priest. He comes with grace and truth. He is who Yahuwah hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir over all things, from whom he made all the worlds, Yahushua. Because the kingdom had to be, it had to come. Yahuwah said it was going to come. It had to come. And then it had to come through Yahushua. Had to. Because he said it was going to come. How can we neglect the so great a salvation? Yeshua. Yahuwah, who at different times and different manners spoke to us by the prophets. Hath in these last days spoken to us by Yahushua Mashiach. You can't be Torah only. You can't be Yah only. You can't. Who being the brightness of his glory, the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power. It's exactly what happened at the creation of man. Because it was, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And he blew into man the Ruach. Because I was Ruach, and that's just, Ruach is like the wind. Yahushua himself said it, the Ruach is like the wind. Pneuma blew into, and man became the brightness of his glory, the expressed image of his person. And he had the authority to uphold all things by the word of his power. Because Yahuwah gave it to him in the arets to establish his kingdom, and Adam and Havah were to put the kibosh down. They were to establish Yahuwah's kingdom in the earth, a righteous kingdom, a set-apart, holy kingdom. And all they needed to do was be fruitful and multiply righteously. And just obey the one Torah. Don't eat of the tree that's in the midst of the garden. But they surrendered it all. But Yahushua didn't. No. He says, listen, concerning Yahushua, who being the brightness of his glory, the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins. High priest. The lamb, and the blood, sacrifice, Yahushua, purged our sins with his own blood. What did he do? He sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high, waiting till his enemies be put under his feet. Because they ain't all there yet. Because Yahushua has not brought forth his people from the places where they're scattered. See, Yahushua has sanctified his name and some of the men that Yahushua has chosen. Right? Because Yahuwah had chose the 12. And even after Yahushua, there was those that were receiving the witness, that were being established as sons and daughters. Right? But Yahushua has established his kingdom. He went to sit down as he observes his kingdom being established. He sees the setbacks. He sees it becoming darkened. He sees the tentacles of the Christian church and Islam and Judaism and Hinduism and all the rest of the isms going to the four corners of the earth, spreading this insanity that has not anything to do with the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, the Ruach HaKodesh. He knew it was going to become dark. He told us, listen, it's going to get bad. Better flee. Why would he tell them to flee if he didn't know it was going to be bad? Why would he say he must work the work while it is day? Because night comes and no man can work. Yahushua, the witness, he's seated, still waiting for us to receive his quickening. Yeah, you woke, but have you received the Ruach HaKodesh since you believed? And are you being led by the Ruach HaKodesh? Are you doing what Yahuwah has called you to do in the Ruach HaKodesh? Are you obeying his commandment in the Ruach HaKodesh? Are you going to reach people in the Ruach HaKodesh? Listen. Yahushua is sitting down patiently waiting for the kingdom to be established in the Eretz in us. See, because he knows at the end, right? He's going to resurrect those who fall in the dispensation that they're in, and they're going to come and serve in the Eretz. Oh yeah. He's gonna resurrect those that are fallen, and those that are alive are going to be changed, that have received the witness. Yahushua knows there is the work of the kingdom that still must be done. And listen, if we in the lands and we ain't gathered, that means it's just work to be done. If we in the lands of these other nations, if we are the Ruach HaKodesh, we are no longer in bondage to sin. And we're no longer under the curse of the law. But listen, we have to be about Yahushua's business in reaching our brother and the other nations. That's the kingdom. So we're in chapter 4. Let's go to chapter 2 again real quick. Therefore, we ought to give the most earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. We got to give heed. We got to listen to. We got to obey. We can't let this stuff get over our heads. We can't be established in the witness of Yahushua Mashiach and then go back to Torah only. We can't be established in Torah only and say Yahushua Mashiach. I can't receive his witness. You're just like your fathers. Just like your fathers. Right? He said, how shall we escape? Right? For if the word spoken of if the word spoken by angels was steadfast, right? Because it's going to do exactly what it's going to do because it's Yahuwah's word. It ain't going to stop until it's completed, till it's fulfilled, until it is carried out, steadfast, right? And every transgression and disobedience receives a justice, a recompense of reward. You're going to get your wages for every disobedience, every transgression, because Torah demands it. Sin demands it. Listen. Okay. Let's think about this hypothetically, right? How many years have we been as a nation of people without sacrifices? Right? Don't matter how many feast days we remember. It doesn't matter how many feast days or Shavuos, or Passovers we remember or have a remembrance for. Of which of these have you ever presented a sacrifice? Given the order of business as it's recorded in the Levitical priest memoirs, how many times in your lifetime have you taken a lamb to the high priest and he has went into the holies of holies, which was offered up, right? Who offered up sacrifices? How long? How many? How many? See, so every disobedience was never covered. Every transgression was never covered. You can't do this without Yahusha. You done lost your mind. You done bumped your head. You can't even substantiate a sacrifice that has to be done on a regular basis. You can't even validate having done it. And you just can't do it. And don't go off that chart and think that you're gonna go get Levi, a Haitian, and say, oh, okay, I need you to offer a sacrifice. Okay. Love with that. I know I made somebody mad, but I don't care. Listen, you can't receive Yeshua without Yahushua HaMashiach. Your transgressions have mounted up. There is no way that you are ever going to be established in the Torah because you got so much transgression built up, and it takes more than forgive me, Yahuwah, right? He has to have blood. There has to be an atonement. Think about this. Just think about this. How are you, Torah only, going to justify you're in the kingdom of Yahuwah or a part of the nation of Yahuwah that Yahuwah is bringing into his kingdom without having properly performed sacrifices? Oh, He has no more pleasure in them. Right. He said it in the prophets. Right. Because he's spoken through his son, and you have to receive his yes. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, he has no more, right? Something has to be paid. Blood has to be paid, atoned for. You're not going to make it without the blood of Yahushua, the high priest, son of Elohiym, who was from the beginning, who Yahuwah had determined would establish his kingdom. And that kingdom, that dominion, was not established until he appeared. From the time that Adam and Eva were put out of the kingdom, the garden, the tree of life, eternal life, they were put out. Right? The kingdom of Yahuwah in the Eretz was waiting for Hamashiach. And when he came, he established the kingdom in us who received the witness. And this kingdom is a kingdom of righteousness, because Yahushua is going to sit on the throne, a scepter of righteousness. Yahushua. He said, for the word spoken of by angels was steadfast, and every transgression and disobedience received a just recompense of. You're going to get payment upon payment. You're going to get payment upon payment. You're going to get your wage. You Torah-only people. You ain't got no sacrifices. You don't have no Levitical priesthood to do the order for you. You're going to get rewarded for your wages. Because you're going to transgress Torah. Oh, yeah, you're going to transgress Torah. Because you don't have the capacity to keep the Torah. You're going to transgress Torah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, more than once or twice, too. In the day, in the minute. Why? Because you don't have the righteousness that's established in the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. You don't have the Ruach HaKodesh, which is Yahuwah and Yahushua, and the Ruach HaKodesh on the inside of you that gives you the capacity to keep the Torah. You ain't going to do it. So guess what? All of that is stored up. That's why you need an atonement for your sins. That's why you need Yahushua HaMashiach. You need the witness. You need the water. Baptism is the passing through the matrix again. You need the Ruach HaKodesh. That's the quickening that makes you alive, that puts you in direct contact with you by the Ruach HaKodesh. Then you have the blood, because Yahushua himself is the high priest that's offering his blood in the Shamayim. See, listen. For us who have received the witness, we good. Yeah, we who have received your witness, the entire witness, the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. Oh, we good. We good. Oh, yeah, we good. We good. Listen. Yahuwah said you have to receive the witness of the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. We good. We good. Because see, you Torah-onlys, brothers, sisters, you're going to receive that justice, that recompense, if you don't receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. If you don't be born again. And listen, the rebirth is not the knowledge of knowing who you are, though it's a part of it. But the rebirth without the quickening of the witness is not a born-again experience. Because you must be born of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh and the blood, the witness. Now, it's the water and the blood because Yahushua is saying it to Nicodemus, but Yahushua was saying it to Nicodemus, understanding that the witness is his sacrifice. You got to see the water and blood. You got to be establishing the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. You have to be establishing the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. How shall we escape? You ain't going to escape. Hebrew, there's no escaping this. There's no escaping this. There's nothing that you can do that's going to cause you to escape except receiving the witness. Believing in Yahushua Mashiach with Emunah, right? Right? Confessing, repenting, confessing and repenting, right? Receiving his sacrifice, being cleansed and water, rebirth, right? And receiving his Ruach HaKodesh. That's the born again. You know, listen. Don't get it twisted with what you've seen in the Christian church. Don't get it twisted with that. Because they got their own idea of what should be done. They argue about whether or not you should be immersed or whether or not you should be sprinkled. You know, I mean, even amongst them, there's confusion, right? Yahushua said Yahuwah said in Ezekiel, right? He said in Ezekiel, I think it's 35, he says, I'll sprinkle you with water and I will cleanse you, right? Yehukanah was told by Yahushua, look, the witness is going to be seen in this individual who you baptized, submerge. The order of business is baptism. But see, it's the witness. It's the example. They can't receive this revelation because they don't have the Ruach HaKodesh. He said, how shall we escape if we neglect so great a Yeshua, which was at first began and spoken by Adonai and confirmed unto us by them that heard us? Right? Let's go on. Chapter 3. Listen. Wherefore, holy brethren, those who have received the witness, partakers of the heavenly calling, those who have answered what Yahushua had chosen for them to receive, right? You answered it. He said, now consider Yahushua Mashiach the profession of the high priest. Talking Hebrew. He's the high priest. Right? Now, they lived in a time, in a period, in an era where they had a high priest that still was offering sacrifices. Yahuwah was not pleased with them at all. But you still had them. You know, we ain't even got them. We got no high priest. How you gonna offer a sacrifice? Yahushua has provided the sacrifice. How you gonna listen? Without Yahushua Mashiach, what's the goal? What's the goal? Without Yahushua and the establishment of the kingdom of Yahuwah and Elohiym, what's the goal? I mean, what are we doing? What are you doing? Oh, we keep Torah. We obeying Torah. We walking in Torah. Yeah. We walking in Torah. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Okay. You go do that. You go do that. Yeah. You go do that. You don't have the Ruach HaKodesh. You don't know what you're doing. You don't got the Ruach HaKodesh. You don't know what you're doing. You got men that are carnal. Carnal. Just like you got the Christian pastors that are carnal. Right? So you got men in awakening that's in this awakening that are carnal. They're gonna do just like they did carnally in the awakening as they did in the Christian church. Because they didn't have the Ruach HaKodesh then, and they don't have it now. You have to receive the Ruach HaKodesh. You got to be established in this witness. The Ruach HaKodesh is going to keep you. It's going to give you life. It's going to reveal truth. And it's going to warn you. Yeah, it's going to warn you. Yeah, when you want to go astray, you want to, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Consider the apostle and high priest of your profession. You are considering Yahushua Mashiach, the high priest of our profession. Right? Who was faithful to him that appointed him, Yahuwah. He was a faithful high priest in the things of Elohiym. Priest had a responsibility of making sure the Torah went out and made sure that righteousness was before the people. They were responsible for reading the Torah and keeping the Torah before people, teaching people Torah. Yeah. That's what they were supposed to do, right? Yahushua was faithful to that. Came in doing exactly that. Did not deviate. To him that appointed him, also as Moses was faithful in his house. Moshe was faithful. He's writing it, recording it, giving it to the people, telling them what Yahuwah said. Yahushua. Gotta consider. High priest. You don't have one. Oh yeah, Yah only. You don't have one. You don't have a high priest. You gonna wait for one to come? You do that there. Yeah, you do that there. You wait for one to come. You do that there, right? Now the fourth verse, fourth chapter. Let us therefore fear lest a promise being left of us to enter into his kingdom. Now, the word is rest, right? The word is Shabbat, right? But the idea is that the rest of Yahuwah is with Yahuwah in his kingdom. Let us therefore fear, reverence, right? Let us cleave to this ruach of fear, right? Because we've received a promise, a down payment, an earnest of our inheritance. In the Ruach HaKodesh, we have a seal. It was given to us by Yahuwah, right? Promise being left of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short. Because you didn't receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Because you didn't receive the Ruach HaKodesh. Because you decided that Torah only was the way to go. Yah only was the way to go. Even though Yahuwah has revealed his Ruach HaKodesh, he revealed his Torah, he revealed his word, his Besorah, in Yahushua Mashiach. You come short. You're going to come up short. Hebrews. Bros. You're going to come up short. You're going to come up short. For unto us was the Besorah preached, as well as unto you, unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with emunah in them that heard it. See, you got some brews that heard the word and received it because theirs was mixed with emunah. I said, yeah, you know what? I believe that. I believe that. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna hold on to that. They're gonna receive that. And then you got them obstinate brews, right? They think they know everything brews, right? Right? They want to challenge everything brews, right? Right? They want to dot T's and cross T's and dot everybody's I's. Hebrews. He want to tell you that Yahushua Mashiach and the Ruach HaKodesh ain't the way. They wasn't mixed with emunah. For we which have believed do enter into rest. Look, I'm in the Shabbat. Listen. You said, listen, I am in the Shabbat. Yeah, I rest because of the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. I am assured of a presence in the kingdom. I do what I do because of Yahuwah, Elohiym, and Yahusha and the Ruach HaKodesh in me. I have rest. Yeah. Shalom. Have peace. For we which have received the witness do enter into rest. See, because there's therefore no condemnation to them that are in Hamashiach. Yahushua Hamashiach. For the law of spirit of life in Hamashiach has made us free from the law of sin and death. For what the law could not do in that it was weak because of our flesh, Yahushua did, right? And replacing us, came in the form of the likeness of sinful flesh and presented himself as an offering for sin. And he condemned sin in the flesh. I've entered into Shabbat. Shabbat. See now, you Torah people, you ain't in Shabbat. You ain't in Shabbat. You have not entered into his rest. Yahweh, I pray that my brothers and my sisters that are in this way, this Torah-only way, would recognize that they need to repent. They need to repent. That they would need to turn. They need to repent and turn. And receive your witness. For the Besorah, for unto us was the Besorah preached as well unto them, but The word, the Torah preached, the Besorah preached, did not profit them because it was not mixed with emunah in them that heard it. That's why you got two people that can hear the same thing. And one person just has emunah on the inside of them that a light goes off. And another person, nothing. That's why you had Yahushua preaching and teaching and speaking in the synagogue. And then you had some Yahudim that believed. And then you had the Pharisees and Sadducees that didn't believe and wanted to condemn the people who did. For we which have believed, we which have received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, do enter into rest. We enter into Shabbat, right? The Greek word for rest is
Strong's G 2663. Katapausis.
Katapausis, right? It's a putting to rest, a calming of the winds, a rest place. They say here it's metaphoric, but heavenly blessedness in which Elohiym dwells and of which he has promised to make persevering believers in Hamashiach partakers after their toil. I am at rest. I have this treasure in earthen vessels. I know that when he shall appear, I shall appear with him. I know that the time will come when you change. Until then, I still hold on to the fact that I have rest. Right? As he has said, I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundations of the earth. So listen, Yahushua has already established the rest from the foundations of the earth if we entered in. If we entered into Yahushua HaMashiach's covenant, Yahuwah's covenant, we would have rest as a people. He's chosen, selected to establish his kingdom in the Eretz. Listen, Yahuwah is establishing a people that will rule over the nations. Yahushua is going to rule over the nations. Those who are his subjects are going to rule over the nations. That's why Yahuwah don't need a lot of people. He just need a remnant. He need a remnant of people that are going to be devoted to the witness, the water, the blood, and the Ruach HaKodesh. Yahushua just needs those who are going to be establishing his witness. That's all he needs, right? That's all he needs. He says, I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundations of the world. For we which have believed do enter. I'm already in it. I'm already in his rest. I am already in the rest of Yahuwah Eloah. I am in his rest already. I have his Ruach HaKodesh in me. He has established me as his son. I am in his kingdom. Listen, for we which have believed do enter into his kingdom. Just like he put Anam and Hava out of the kingdom for their disobedience, right? And sin passed on all, right? With Yahushua Mashiach as the high priest before the Shamayim altars with his blood, Yahushua led us back into the kingdom. We don't see it because, we have to accept it in Emunah. Along with the witness in the Ruach HaKodesh. See, I receive. Look, I know I'm in the kingdom of Yahuwah. Oh, man, listen. He says, for he spake in a certain place on the seventh day on this wise, and Eloah did rest the seventh day from all his works. Yahuwah rested. Yahuwah. Now, Yahuwah didn't need to, okay, I done worked hard for 7 days, I need to take a nap. Excuse me. Yahuwah did not need to go to sleep. You didn't need to take a nap. It's okay, I done worked hard. Me, Yusha, and the Ruach HaKodesh. 7 days. We gonna rest on the 7 days. He was establishing an order for the people of his kingdom because he knew that they were going to work. Listen, this was all an establishment of an order of the kingdom. He knew that they were going to work, and he knew, because he knew it from the foundations of the earth, that in this kingdom they were going to work. They were going to conduct business. But on this one day, they were going to all Shabbat. They were all going to experience rest. Right? Right? Even Adam and Eva in the garden. They were working and tending the fields every day, except on the Shabbat. Yahuwah, right? Because they disobeyed, they were put out the kingdom. They were still required to keep the Shabbat. But their life became so much more difficult. Yeah. See, because for he spake in a certain place on the seventh day on this wise, and Eloah did rest the seventh day from all his works. And again, Yahuwah didn't rest because he needed a nap. Yahuwah understood what his order was going to be. He knew in his kingdom there was going to be 7 days established. And the seventh day was going to be the day of rest. His Shabbat. His people would rest in his kingdom. Would rest. And the seventh day from all his works, right? And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest, seeing therefore it remaineth some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached enter not in because of unbelief. He says, and again in this place, right? If they shall enter into my rest, Adamava, seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached enter not in because of unbelief. Listen, Adamava, right? They were in the rest of Yahuwah. They experienced the Shabbat of Yahuwah. They entered in to the rest. Right? Right? They had total rest from everything. Right? Ease. Comfort. The Ruach HaKodesh. Help your people, y'all. Help your people. Listen. There are people who have, at the time of Yahusha, were delivered the Besorah, the rest of Yahusha, the witness. Because the witness is what the rest is all about. They didn't want to receive it. Right? Because they didn't believe. They didn't believe that Yahushua Mashiach was Yahuwah's Shabbat. They didn't believe the witness was a means to the rest. They didn't believe it. They didn't receive that witness. Don't you make the same mistakes that your forefathers made. Bruce. And again, I love my Gentile brethren. And shout out to every single one of you who listens. As I've stated before, this is a grind that Yahuwah has given me in Hebrews after Acts to give to the Brews. Because I was going to go straight into Romans. You know, you say, you don't know Yahuwah said, no, I need you to go into Hebrews. So I love you. Gentiles, those who received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. He said, listen. He said, seeing therefore it remains that some must enter therein, right? And they to whom it was first preached enter not in because of unbelief. But those that look, as many, no. How does that go? The witness went out to the Hebrews, but as many as received him, to them Yahuwah gave power to be the sons of Elohiym. Yahushua preached this Besorah. And Yahuwah, he told Yahuwah, said, listen, the ones that you've given me, I've kept them. Right? The witnesses. I've kept them. Right? Paul is saying here, he says, seeing therefore it remains that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief, but some of them did. Right? The apostles, right? Again, he limited a certain day, saying in David, today after so long a time as it is said, today if you will hear my voice, harden not your heart. So again, you know, Shaul is just constantly showing you in examples in the Torah, right? how Yahusha is speaking in reference to the witness of Yahusha. Look, he's called me to cry loud, spare not. He's called me to lift up my voice. You're going to hear me every day. And if you don't hear me a day, it's because Yahuwah has put the brakes on me that day. But you're going to hear me every day. Because I gotta cry loud. I gotta spit out. I gotta do this. I gotta put it out there, and I gotta do it. Right? Gotta do it. Right? I gotta do it. It's what I do. Gotta do it. Yeah, I gotta work. Yeah, I do work. But I gotta get it out. Right? I gotta get it out. Gotta cry loud. I gotta spare not. I gotta be the voice crying in the wilderness. Repent. Yasharal and Yahuda. Repent. 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 Receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. Be born again. Be born again. Be born again. Get that Christian ideal out your head. Be born again. Receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. And listen, you can receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, right? You can receive it in your own, home. I would say you can receive it in your own home. And you may need somebody to baptize you. Yahuwah will show you where to go and what to do and who to get it from. Just don't roll up on anybody. Right? He says, when you hear his voice, harden not your heart. See, you Brews don't want to hear. You don't want to hear. You don't want to hear. You don't want to hear. No, you don't want to hear. He says again, he limited a certain day, saying in Dawid, the day after so long a time, as it is said today. If you hear my voice, hear his voice, harden not your heart. Some of you are going to become so hardened that Yahuwah is going to leave you to yourself. For if Yahusha had given them rest, then would he not afterwards have spoken of another day? Right? For if Yahusha had given them rest, then would he have spoken of another day? So he was talking about, look, if Yahusha had given them rest at that time, there would be no need to be spoken of another day, right? Right? He says, but listen, there remaineth therefore a rest for the people of Elohiym, sons and daughters, those who have received the witness. There remains a rest for the people of Elohiym. Listen, I receive his kingdom in me. Yahuwah, and the Ruach HaKodesh. I receive his rest in Imunah. I receive it in me. His Shabbat in me, in Imunah, right? For Yahusha have given, for if Yahusha had given them rest, right, then would he not afterwards had spoken of another day? Right? Now, Yahusha promised rest, right? When he spoke of this rest, right? This rest that was spoken of was before his blood was ever offered in the Shamayim, right? He says, for if Yahusha had given them rest, then he would not afterwards have spoken of another day. There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of Elohiym. For he that is entered into his rest, he has also ceased from his own works, as Elohiym did from his. See, we who have received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, we have entered into his rest, right? We ain't about doing what we want to do because it's what we want to do. We about doing what Yahuwah wants us to do. We about kingdom business. And that's our Shabbat. That's our rest. For there remaineth a kingdom of the people for Elohiym. Because rest is what the kingdom is. Right? Rest is what the kingdom is. Right? He said, for there remaineth, therefore a rest, there remaineth a kingdom to the people of Elohiym. Right? For the people of Elohiym. Right? For he that entereth into his kingdom, he also is he that ceased from his own works. Right? You in his kingdom, you ain't about what you want. Right? As Elohiym did from his. You're going to stop. You're going to do what you need to do. Right? In his kingdom. You are going to rest. Let's go on a little bit further here. He says, let us labor, therefore, to enter into his rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief. So listen. Right? So what Paul is saying is that, listen, we don't want to slip. We don't want to fall in unbelief. We have to maintain this witness, right? We have to pray with our understanding, and we have to pray in the Ruach HaKodesh. We have to sing with our understanding, and we have to sing in the Ruach HaKodesh. We have to keep Yahuwah's Besorah and his Torah, his word before us, right? Because his word is a lamp unto our feet, a light unto our pathway. And the entrance of his word gives light, it gives understanding to the simple. The word of Yahuwah. A young man's ways is cleansed by taking heed to Yahuwah's word, right? You have to do these things, right? You have to labor. Got to pray. Labor. You've got to pray. You got to read. You got to meditate. You have to, right? You have to labor, right? You have to carry the witness. Carry the witness. You ain't talking about going to no job, working for a living. He's talking about working for the kingdom. You got to labor. The 7 days was for the establishment of how things were to be done in the kingdom, right? Yeah, it's subjects in the kingdom. We had 7 days. You could do whatever we want to put on the Shabbat. We were to rest. But it was kingdom work. It's what we had to do for the kingdom. Then we rested. You have to do the work. Hebrew. You got to do the work. And you ain't going to do the work without Yahushua Mashiach's witness. Point blank, period. Let us labor to enter into this rest. See, because there's rest in the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. There's a tabernacle on the inside of you. Yahuwah and Yahushua and the Ruach HaKodesh, they are in you. They are in you, right? That's there. You're the temple of Yahuwah and Yahushua. You are the temple. You are the place that he occupies. This is how we labor in the kingdom. Let us therefore labor to enter into the rest, lest any man should fall after the same example of unbelief. I don't see the witness of Yahushua. Unbelief. Yahushua is going to purge the rebels for their unbelief. The branches are going to be cut off and gathered, and men are going to put them in the fire to be burned. For the word of Elohiym is quick, alive, and powerful, right? It's sharper than any two-edged sword. Now listen. The word of Yahuwah, right, carries its own authority. Now, mixed with the Ruach HaKodesh of truth. Whoa, listen. Cause those things to be not as though they were. Yeah. Ruach HaKodesh. But the word of Yahuwah is alive. It's quick. That word quick in the Greek.
Strong's G 2198. Zao.
It is to live, right? It is to be live or to be alive. To have true life. It is to live. To be active. Powerful. Right? Infectious. Right? The word of you. The word of you. So the word of Yahuwah is quick, right? It's powerful, right? That word powerful is
Strong's G 1756. Energase,
which means active. It also has an etymology here. And the etymology of that word is in and by, with. Okay. How about, there's actually two of them here. Business, that which is occupied, act, deed, and thing done. Okay. So, Yahuwah's word is alive. It's powerful and is sharper than any two-edged sword, right? Right? And it pierces even into the dividing asunder of your soul, your emotions, right? And your ruach, right? And in the joints and marrow and the discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the hearts. Yahuwah's word, right? It does this to you. Right? Right? The Ruach HaKodesh in you takes this experience and makes it real, right? Of the word in you, Yahusha, right? And it causes you to have what you need in order to get the job done with the Besorah of truth. That's why, they got to go hand in hand. That's why it's called the Besorah of truth and the Ruach HaKodesh of truth. I mean, they don't come apart. They kind of flow together. I mean, they're both the truth. One is the active power of the truth, and the other is the spoken word of the truth. So the spoken word of the truth mixed with the active power of the truth makes that word a two-edged sword. It makes that word divide asunder soul and ruach, right? And separates joints and marrows and discerns of the thoughts and intents. So what it does is it just gets in there in every crevice. The word of Yahuwah. It discerns the thoughts and the intents of the heart. See, you know, that's why this Besorah of truth, this witness that I preach, right? If it ain't in you, you ain't gonna stay. It's not gonna keep you. You ain't gonna be able to withstand it. Because it's a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart. Whatever Yahuwah, by the Ruach HaKodesh says, it's what he says. And you know, Yahuwah is clear, right? Concerning the word and the Ruach, right? He says, neither is there any creature that is not manifested in the sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. The Ruach HaKodesh and the Torah of truth at work in those who have received the witness of the Ruach HaKodesh and the Torah of truth, right? They have manifested power in the word of Yahushua, quickening power, made alive power. And that power gets in and it separates and it divides. It lays things naked and open. He says, seeing then that we have a great high priest, Yahushua HaMashiach, that have passed into the Shamayim's, Yahushua HaMashiach, the son of Elohiym, let us hold fast our profession. You got to hold fast the witness. Let us hold fast the witness. For we have not a high priest which cannot be touched with the feelings of our infirmities, but within all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Yahushua. This is why you have to receive the witness. Yahuwah went through this process in order to establish you. He allowed Yahushua Mashiach, Yah's salvation, his son, right, to bear your wrath. You gotta come this way. There ain't no other way you gonna get in. You ain't getting into the kingdom. You ain't entering into his rest. You're not entering into his rest. He says, for we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feelings of our infirmities, which means that he knows what we feel. He knows the infirmities that we experience in our bodies. Right? He knows these, right? But was in all points tempted like as we, but he didn't sin. He was tempted, but he didn't sin. He was tempted, but he didn't sin. Let us therefore come boldly to the throne of grace. Because Yahushua is full of grace and truth, and the word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, even it was the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Let's come boldly to the throne, right? Because Yahushua is seated at the right hand of the Father. He is the high priest. He is the sacrifice. We can come boldly before the throne, that we may obtain mercy, Yahuwah, and find grace to help in the time of need. Yahuwah, I pray that right now, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, as I come boldly before the throne of grace, I pray that you would establish them in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, whom you have chosen to receive. I pray that you would quicken, make alive those who you have called and chosen to receive this witness. Yahushua, I pray that every individual that does not want anything to do with this witness to be made manifest boldly. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. I pray that those who want to receive your witness receive it. I pray that you would give them emunah in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Give them what they need in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Yahweh, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahweh, I pray for those who have need of healing. I declare a word of healing right now in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. I have your Ruach HaKodesh, and these signs follow them that believe. You said that I will lay hands on the sick and they shall recover. Yahuwah, I lay my hands on those right now that are under the sound of my voice that need your healing. Yahweh, you're not locked into time and space. You said that by your stripes we would be healed. Now, Yahuwah, I pray healing. I send a word of healing in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. For your word is quick and it's powerful and it's sharper than any two-edged sword. Yahuwah, send healing. And Yahweh, if they've sinned, forgive them of their sins and heal them. Yahweh, I thank you for all that you are and all that you do. I praise you for your Ruach HaKodesh and your spirit of truth. Yahweh, continue to allow the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart find acceptance in your sight. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I pray. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, that's it. That's all we've got. We've completed the 4th chapter of Hebrews. There's a rest. Right? There's a rest. And I am a recipient of that rest. Yeah. There is a Shabbat that is yet to come in the fullness of Yahushua's kingdom. But right now, I have that rest. And I have it in emunah till I see it. I receive the witness of it. I receive Yahushua HaMashiach's witness. For his witness is life. His witness is peace. His witness is Shabbat. Man of Yah called the greatness. Woman of Yah called the greatness. Woman Yahuwah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Listen, Yahuwah's favored you today. This day, go forth in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. Trust in Yahuwah. Stand strong and stand true in the Ruach HaKodesh. And don't be swayed. Don't be moved. Don't be taken. Don't allow anybody to cause you to sway. Stand firm in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. Because these days is evil. Right? And he's purging the rebels. Yeah. With that I say, shalom, shalom, shalom.
Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.